Hello everybody, and welcome to our coverage of the latest BZ-Power contest, Titans and Monsters Attack on BZ-Koro. Now, just as a little bit of background, just as a little bit of background on this, it is 1:52 a.m. Central Time. It is my birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Messinac. Happy birthday to anyway.
And I have pressured the others, and they have agreed with me to do this coverage this late rather than tomorrow morning, for the sole purpose of getting this out at a relevant time, because the contest actually ends tomorrow night. So I would rather have some time to actually spotlight these entries. So basically, this is what we're going to do. First, we're going to preface with the obvious thing we have to address.
And maybe our names.
And oh yeah, well, who cares about that? This isn't a TTV episode, but okay, I'm missing it.
Fine. I'm Eljay.
I'm Kahi.
Mange!
I thought Var was gonna say something. I'm Tenebrae Invictus.
Nope.
And then Mikeless Var.
Yeah. Just as like a fun fact here, Var is in call playing his own audio through Microsoft Sam, which is not actually in the recording.
Thank goodness.
But we can hear it. Yes. So anyway, let us open this with Eljay talking about the obvious thing we have to address at some point.
Okay. I'm not gonna talk about I'm not gonna talk about my opinions on things. I'm just gonna go over the situation. Basically, I entered into the contest, as you probably very well know, because I made a video about it and put it on the channel. And this is like, in the comics category, is the semi-finals, and there are 5 comics. There's myself, 3 others by probably comic authors I haven't talked about, and then one called, one by an author who makes the back comics, or Bionicle Adventure comics. And it became a greater situation because there was a lot of miscommunication about some things in my comic, and it ended up being an extraordinarily large fight and argument that ended up with someone getting banned.
Yeah.
And myself and the back comic disqualified from the contest, which I have absolutely no issue with. In fact, that's a very good way. There's a very good end to it all. But there's this huge issue. I'm not going to go into the intricacies of it. But yeah, that's what happened. So you should have voted for me all sooner.
Yeah.
Look what you've all done.
But to all those that did vote for Eljay, we are very appreciative of that.
Yes, I actually need to give some shout-outs to some people, like I promised.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, let me see here. Alright, who voted? Shoutouts going out to Kopaka Fang, Takua123, Toa Arian, sorry if I mispronounced it, Pikmin Jake, MT Zevor, I think that's about it. My apologies if I missed anyone. That's who said they voted in like the comments.
Hooray. Thank you all for doing what you do. You're really cool people.
Indeed.
And also, thanks to everyone else that voted for Eljay as well, because there were a lot of people.
Yep. Much appreciated, but now that I'm not a part of the contest, it is time to vote for the other entries who, in the midst of this entire issue, got the short end of the stick, like really bad.
Yeah, like I guess comics is as good a place as you need to start. I'm gonna use this as a pausing point for editing.
Wait, no, wait, it's back.
It's back?
The forms are back, yes.
They're Bionicle Adventures comics?
Oh, you
okay.
pina colada.
Okay, so basically we're gonna do this. We're gonna talk about the 3 comics which got the short end of the stick this go around. because they got overshadowed by the war between Back and Eljay. These comics are The Phantom Terror and his League of Dimwits, Opolis Invaded, and Mech vs. Monster. So let's start off with the first one. This is actually made by a fan of ours, The Phantom Terror, calling in on the Coup Fest. Here's what I'm gonna say about it. I got a laugh out of it. It was decently witty. I did enjoy it, but obviously the issues are that it's kind of graphically lacking, and the fact that it does not actually have any titans or monsters in it. That's
Yeah.
kind of a big omission.
Yeah.
I can excuse how it looks. That's not really a huge issue for me. However, it seems like it looks very hastily made, and there's
Yes.
like no combat, no titans, no monsters. It's
That
completely
computer.
irrelevant to the contest as a whole.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't qualify, and I can't really say anything to help it there. But
Yeah.
it was kind of amusing.
I can respect
I-
the take they tried to do, like being a different perspective of there being the contest than BZP, rather than the actual fight, but I don't think it came off working too well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
Yeah.
making a comic about the contest as opposed to like actually making
The contest
the
comic.
the contest comic kind of went against us here. I do like the guy's font, I guess. Well, not really the default font. That's kind of generic, but like the whole
The other font.
the other font, I guess. That's really the nicest thing I can say about this. So
Well, you know,
yeah, you know,
it
graphic
is what it
quality will
is.
come
Mange,
with
what do
time.
you think?
Well, it's been a while since I've seen it, and I'm probably about to look at it again.
That's
But
the
when
point.
I saw it, and when I saw it, I was severely disappointed in the ending with the overload in all the memes, and that there was no action between titans and monsters in any way,
Yeah.
and rather just talking about that.
Yeah. So, it's pretty low on the list from me, just because of lack of
Yeah.
relevance and its graphic lackings.
I can respect the concept, but yeah, that's the deal.
Yeah.
So we shall move on to the next one, Opolis Invaded. Who is the author
The
of this?
author of this is,
Do you know?
I actually have no idea how to pronounce his name, but his Maj host says, Argo?
Oh, Ajara.
Jareth, that's who it is.
Ajara?
Yeah, he's the author of this.
Okay.
He's made comics before. This is the one that I voted
probably
for
seen that one
after
too.
the double disqualification, because I like how it looks. It's very clean cut. It's very smooth. I love that newspaper panel. It looks fantastic.
The newspaper is masterfully
Yeah, and then, you know,
done.
they're actual titans versus monsters in this, which I'm very happy to see.
Yes.
Probably my only complaints is that it relies too heavily on very standard, very kind of awkward-looking leaf brushes from Photoshop. Without those,
Yeah, I
without
could do
those,
without
I feel it could
those.
have been done a lot better, and it just makes it look
Why are those there exactly?
apparently it's supposed to be in autumn, but it just they
Huh.
look very out of place, and they cluster everything.
They kind of do.
What?
It's like it would just look so much cleaner without those being there.
It really would. My other complaint, and this is more of a personal gripe against it, is the kit used, because I'm not a fan, really, of it. It's
Yeah,
I'll
I'm,
do.
I'm not that big into Shimura either, but you know, it's a graphical style. I do like that his backgrounds do end up fitting the style, more
That is
than
true.
not fitting the style.
yeah, I agree.
So, but you know, it has a lot of good graphical effects. You know, it's not like super photorealistic, but I feel like this style kind of makes up for that in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from like the leaves, I guess was he trying to create the movement of like wind or something? I'm not exactly sure.
No, I think you mentioned it was just supposed to be in autumn because he had a different plan for it, and
Okay.
that kind of stuck
Well,
around. So
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty nice. I can definitely see the inherent kind of likability of it. It's a little short. There's not a lot of like really. It might be a bit hard to grasp if you're kind of coming into it.
yeah,
And then, of course, the abrupt ending. Well,
Abrupt
but-
ending. I mean, that's always to be expected in a contest like this. It was so short, like about 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't get
Yeah.
to enter, and I finished entering until about an hour before it all ended.
And you had to, like, cut your original ending plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, like it was a very
You
short
were planning on
contest to
entering
begin
some
with, but
stuff, weren't you, Kyle?
I was planning to enter some stuff. At the end, I decided against it for personal reasons. My personal reasons. I mean, I had parties all day and all night because school was starting.
Yep, you're gonna go partying.
You're
Anyway,
stupid.
Mange, what do you think about this comic?
Well, this is the one I voted for, and I enjoyed it to an extent. I like the photorealism and the effects and the action to an extent, but my problem was that it all seemed like indirect fighting in a way, just mostly a lot of giant arm swipes and stuff out of nowhere, so it just
Yeah.
wasn't too
That arm
like
swipes are the
detailed
way
of
to
fights.
go.
And,
It was hard to know what was going on once the fight started. I think.
yeah, it was just kind of it
It's-
felt in a way like a Lego magazine comic fight,
You know,
in my opinion.
maybe that might be a good way of putting it. Anyhow.
Alright. We will move on to the next entry, and that is Mech vs. Monster. Who is this by?
Yes.
His,
Oh,
his
Cycron.
bookshelf says Cycron.
Yeah, that's his name. That's
Yeah.
by
TTV.
Cycron, and this would have been my other choice to vote for because it was actually a mech versus a monster. It was very
Yup.
fitting, but I don't know. I guess the panel placement was primarily what
It
drove
is very
me away.
odd. I don't know why
it
he did
is.
that.
I don't. I see some of the panels are tilted. I'm not really sure. I guess it's
Tilted.
it's supposed to add emphasis, I guess, but I just it doesn't
I don't
really mesh
understand.
well too well.
There are comics that
Um,
do that well, and
yeah.
I think this one could have done without it.
It could have done a bit without it.
Yeah, some text in some of the parts are difficult to read.
Yeah.
But this
Yup.
is it's definitely not a bad comic.
No.
The author fits the kit within his own like style pretty well.
Yeah, this is the one I
Except-
voted for.
Yeah, except
Oh.
for two things. Any photorealistic backgrounds
Yes.
and probably any time the monster's drawn.
Yeah, the monster, it's not a mad sprite, but it clearly looks out of style, and you can kind of see the difference there. The text, it's very well written and well paced in that, like, you know what's going on, and, like, it's pretty clear, it's not confusing, it sets up the premise pretty quickly. There's this Matoran, and he has his DNA merged from a modern day robot to fight a monster and stuff.
Because that can happen.
Yeah, because that can happen. It's whatever. It's Titan versus monsters. But the
Yeah.
big thing here is that like I feel like the text could have benefited from some stroke or like something to like
Yes.
kind of separate from the background. There's a lot of points. If it just had like some stroke, it would have been
In
so
the
much easier to
third
read.
part specifically, that is the
Yes.
worst offender.
Yes.
It's awful because this one dude is talking so much, and it's just so hard.
He's like, this is the exposition part of the story, and he's talking so much, and you can't read any of it. You have to kind of like really listen to it. So for the most part, it doesn't look all too bad, but there's just some parts where it could have been done better. And personally, I was going to vote. I'm probably going to vote for Argaraf tomorrow. I guess I could vote for it today,
Do it now.
but I'm so tired.
Do it now.
So should I do it now?
Yeah, but
You should totally do it now.
yeah, this is a good entry. Not the one I
Yeah.
voted for, but definitely a good entry.
Yeah,
I enjoy it
had
for its
own merits.
actual ending and for a fight scene that was pretty cool.
The ironic thing here is that if I had decided to enter any comic at all.
Yes.
No, I won't finish
You
that
would have
thought because
win.
I'm so tired.
Finish the
No,
thought.
I'm so tired.
Finish the
I'm so
thought.
tired.
You
It's
know
so
it.
pretentious. It's so,
If he
nah,
had
I-
entered a comic, he would have lost to me. It's obvious. Yada yada. Anyway.
I would have lost to you, and then your entry would have been disqualified, and then I would have gotten all the votes.
Ha 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 ha. Anyway, speaking of
okay.
disqualifications, I don't think we need to go over the other two entries. I made a
No.
comics about Power Rangers, probably the most fitting thing next to Mech vs. Monster. Back had a comic there. It sucks. That's pretty much the end of it.
Quite.
Wow. Don't
So
be
now-
biased, LJ. How can you be
Now-
so biased?
No, I'm not being biased. That's
I
an
am
objective
joking.
viewpoint. No, anyway.
Now let
Really
us
now?
move on to the next category, and this is artwork. And I'll be posting the link in the chat.
Aren't there
Is
two?
it? Not for this one, no. Just one.
Okay.
Just one for art. There's 10 entries, so a pretty good amount. The first one baffles me. I do not know what to make of it. Because
I
it
know
said
what
that
you
the
mean.
name is BZ-Koro Titan versus Monster Art Entry. And
This is one of the first few. I already
don't
knew
understand.
right away I wasn't gonna vote for this.
I don't understand.
Yeah, solely because it just didn't really make any sense.
What
It's
is going
like
on?
it's an okay. It's I mean you can clearly see. I won't say it doesn't make any sense because you can clearly see it as a Godzilla-like monster and he's destroying the city and there's a robot fighting him. And that makes sense enough to me. It just looks
Yeah,
a
that's
little
true.
odd. You know, it's like the pixel art is a little misstrewn at some places. You can see, like
Yeah.
The
they're
BZP
not all
building.
actually squares and like it's not bad, but it's also not good. It's a style that I respect and don't necessarily vote for.
Yeah. So, it's kind
Mage,
of
what do you think of this? You need to
Wait,
speak
what are we-
more. We're doing
What are
art.
we looking at right now?
art entry one.
Opposed to the link, yeah. BZ-Koro Titan versus Monster Art Entry.
Give me a second though.
Okay. To be
Okay, now
completely
there
fair,
are
I
a lot of
like I like the actual monster.
Because that link did not take me to it.
Oh. Wrong link.
I'm
Okay,
getting
well.
it now.
Oh yeah, that was completely the wrong link without a style. Copy pasted the comics poll again.
So, we're looking at the first one.
I'm still doing. Yes, we're looking at the first one.
Well, I want to say it's intriguing in a way, definitely unique, probably compared to the other ones in the fact of how it was all like probably based using the MS Paint eraser, just kind of looks
Yeah.
a tad's throwback, but very good for the simplicity that's there, I'd say.
Yeah. Also, Var, this is your show. This is like artwork. If you want to pitch in anything, just post it in the chat and I'll say it for you.
Yeah.
But if not, we will move on to entry number 2.
Should have
This is
voted for
by-
this one.
Oh man,
I did vote for this one.
Alright,
this
that-
one
This is
is
our good old buddy old pal, Crunch Bite Nuba.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry I did not vote for it.
And I love it so much.
Yeah,
I
my
did like it.
apologies.
It looks very like it has a very stylized, like comic bookish feel. It looks great, paint's great, everything about it. It's good. I like how he turns Pacific Rim and like the Toa Kaida, which is like kind
Yeah.
of a common theme this year, right?
No,
Was it? a
this
common
was the
theme?
only Kaita entry.
No, I
and
mean
this
like
is
GSR
the only
also
artwork
did an
entry.
epic about it. Yeah, and I think
Oh.
I saw some others about it.
It was,
I
was a
didn't
masterpiece.
read any of the epics.
Okay.
Any of them.
Well, that is.
I love the style.
I do love the Scout. I feel
Is
like
it winning? Yes, it is.
It is. It is
Okay.
definitely winning, which is, I'm very happy to see
Compared to
Right.
entry 9, which is good
Yeah.
too. But
that. And
yeah,
this was also very well done because a lot of this contest was based off of Pacific Rim,
Yes.
This is just a really great adaptation of that.
Although you need
Yeah.
to see Pacific
Did you
Rim.
actually end up seeing that?
Yeah. Well, wait. What do you mean? This is obviously Pacific Rim.
Yeah, I know.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
wondering
have
if
you seen
Have
the
you
Saying,
seen
did you
Pacific
see
Rim?
Pacific Rim?
Oh no,
You
I
should
haven't.
at some
You
point.
didn't see? Okay. You
If it
should-
came
you
out
should.
this month or last month, I haven't. If it came out this year, I have not seen it.
Okay.
Alright, well,
Well,
think about seeing it sometime.
Mange, what do you think?
Well,
This seems
I
to be a
voted for
recurring
it.
trend. Okay.
I voted for it. I really liked it. I really liked the look. You know,
I
the
know.
coloring is very good. It, like he said, it was very comic book styled. Kind of like the atmosphere around it. I mean, just how there's so much of like colors being overlaid to make that background, and how it just kind of fades off around it.
Yup.
Yeah. I
So that's
personally
what I
would have
think.
liked. I personally would have liked to see some more coloration in the Werua.
Yeah.
Jagger.
That is true.
Yeah.
Jaeger.
Jaeger. See Jaeger.
Anyway.
Listen,
Let us
moves
move
like
on.
Jaeger.
Let's move on to entry 3, which at first I was like, what the heck is this? But then I was like, I see what they did there.
I know. I
This
see
is
what they
clever.
did there.
CJ
A
on the monster on Titan.
On Titan, one of Saturn's moons. If you didn't get that reference.
Yup.
This is a very clever entry. I'm not much for how spindly and stick figurey and kind of curvy the Tomata look,
Yeah.
but
funny
I can
because, like,
excuse it.
The monster
They're all
truck doesn't
waving
look
at
like
the
that.
camera.
The monster truck is actually very good and three-dimensional and stuff. But, like, the Toyomata are kind of interesting.
They're flat.
Yeah.
They're so.
Well,
I don't know.
The expression on
I
Tahoe's
don't mind the
face
style.
is hilarious.
It is. It's pretty funny. I just
We
obviously
was-
I can't really say if this is the best entry out of all of them, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was very clever.
Mange, what do you think?
It's certainly interesting. I like the perspective on and like how well the lines are drawn on the truck itself, but
Nah.
I don't know about those Taomata figures. Onua's face especially.
Yup.
I knew
What
it
is
does
with
look
that
cool.
mouth?
Well, I was gonna say stone, but that's Potatu, so he's a little earthed.
And yeah, looking at it now, Pohatu looks a bit creepy.
Yeah.
Potatu looks like a minifigure. A lot
Yeah,
for
no.
some reason. It's like
No,
two
no.
eyes, two little beady eyes, and a smile.
Pohatu, I can see this, see just that being in kind of a Bionicle parody of Ben Drowned.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
Pohatu
Oh,
is
yes.
that face is the one on the
Definitely.
statue, follows you
Definitely.
everywhere.
That is perfect.
That is actually quite a.
Okay, anyway.
Let's move on.
Yes. Entry
number
number
four.
4. Entry number 4 is Face Off. And this is by... I don't know who this is by. Who is this by?
Wish they'd post the
Topic.
contestant names.
Okay, well, I'll just read off his brick shelf name. CKINVA. Hooray. This entry is... Well, it's not bad. It's different. But...
I did stuff like this when I was like 10, so I can sympathize, but
maybe he is 10. I don't know.
maybe he is 10. If he is 10, you know, I give props to a kid for trying to do stuff in here.
Here's a comment
It's
by
just-
Var. It doesn't even look like Bionicle.
Granted,
Which, to be fair, is not a prerequisite.
yeah, there was like a completely off topic.
Yeah, I mean, you
Section.
could do whatever you wanted to for this one. I'm just, you know, it's okay.
I don't know if
It-
it's supposed to reference anything in particular. 'cause
Yeah,
you can't
it's
see
just
the
it's just
topic.
like it just looks like a kid, you know, kind of drew it. It's not like a
Yeah.
horrific drawing, but it's like, you know, you can clearly see a kid drew it, and compared to the other entries here, not really up to par. It has like, you know, crayon and pencil, and it was taken. It
Yeah.
wasn't scanned. It was like a picture taken on like somebody's phone or camera. So
Yeah.
Mange, what do you think?
Are we looking at the Titan
Entry
versus
4.
Monster entrant?
no,
Entry 4.
face
Wait.
off.
Oh, Face Off. Okay. Okay. Give me a second to load it.
Go, go, go,
I was,
go, go.
I was
go,
hotly
go,
anticipating the one after it.
Go. Yes, I know.
Let us see this. Well, there are some forms here, and that's all about I can notice. There's what would appear to be a robot passively waiting to be hit by a head, disembodied perhaps. I think the robot needs a little more form than a giant forearm. Not forearm, but like the
Yeah.
upper arm actually. And there should have
That
been
is
more of
true.
a dragon.
Yeah. But that's okay, because while there may not have been much of a dragon in that picture, the next entry is entry 5 by Toa Nikki, Titan versus
boy.
This
Monster
goes along the
entry.
same style as entry number 1.
I'm actually kind of amazed. I've never seen this type of styled entry before, and this time we have 2.
I think they
Really?
pulled this
Yeah,
one off
I
a
do
little
like
bit better
this
than
a
the
lot
first
better.
one.
It looks.
But,
It reminds me of
yeah.
like
Yeah.
the original Iron
agree.
Man suit versus a giant lizard.
Oh yeah. Yup.
What are these people in the back? Are these people?
I
Or
don't
what- is this,
know
like,
what's in
cars
the back. I
in the-
think that was a building and like got demolished or something.
Yeah, that's what happened. I think that's just rubble.
Something.
Okay, just
We are
rubble.
looking at
It's
number 5, Titan versus Monster entry at VAR.
yeah.
Do you wish
Again,
to comment? Carry on talking till like. Carry on. Kai, what were
Oh.
you saying?
no. I was just. I mean, like it's the same thing as the other one.
Yeah.
I respect the style. Don't really say it's the best entry, but
Yeah.
I am looking forward to seeing more people do stuff like this throughout the forum. I
Mhm.
feel like pixel artwork hasn't been seen a lot. I'd like to see more of
I
that.
made pixel art.
Yeah, here of ours opinion. It certainly looks interesting. I don't think it works for a contest, but the style is definitely a
I
nice
can agree with
change.
that, most definitely.
So now, let us move on into number 6. The Order's
This
Call.
very well done.
Oh, I
Who
love
made
this
Very
one.
well done. Oh
This is
yeah, is all I
OE.
can
That's
say.
I wish I would actually give you the names of the people in the poll,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Oh yeah!
Or at least link to the topic so you can see that.
Yeah, this was very
Oh, yeah.
impressive. The atmosphere here was extraordinary, and I recognized some Bionicle characters. Avox over there. What's his name? That one Order man new member with the staff. What was his name? That wasn't Jomac, was it?
Wasn't Joe Mac the one that was invisible?
Yeah,
No.
I
Was
forget.
not
Anyway, there was
Jomac.
an Order man new member. There was
Alright,
Vizirac
anyhow,
everywhere.
yeah.
This is just a lot going on, and it's extremely intricate and detailed. And there's actually like a small world here. You can see in the background Matoran everywhere, the buildings. It's very panicked. It's just extraordinarily well done and shaded and very impressive.
This is my second favorite entry. Just saying.
Oh man, this
So,
is actually a big
OE,
contender.
whoever you are, I will find out because I want to leave you a comment. So yeah.
I'm not,
What do
see, I
you
haven't
think?
voted yet. I'm torn because I love, like, although I like the second entry, the Pacific Rim, the Toa-Kaida thing. This one is just, you can clearly see the world in this one, and I'm really big with world building. I love the colors. It's like this.
Yeah.
It's a sunset, and it's like you see the contrast against everybody. You see the buildings that Matoran are in. It's very atmospheric. It's very well done. I don't see a lot of entries like this or looking like this as much as I would like to. So
Here is Var's thought. This one is incredible. The thing that really sets it apart is the atmosphere.
I think he meant inking.
Lighting. I think he means the lighting. Oh yeah, inking or lighting, I'm not
Okay.
sure. Yeah, he says lighting. And the landscape. Landscapes never generally being prevalent in most BZPers artwork. There was a lot of effort making this image showcase an actual scene/event rather than just being two characters fighting it out. Which,
I love
yeah, that's
just
pretty much the consensus.
look in the background, see all this little detail. Where's like people
Yeah.
holding hands, they're running away. There's one guy helping someone out of the window. There's another guy helping this guy crushed by some rebel. I mean, like just that
Maybe I
amount
should have
of
voted
detail
for
here.
this.
I think I'm leaning towards this one just to be honest. I really enjoy number 2 too, but this one has
But
something
wait,
I just
Kai,
don't see a lot.
we have not gotten to the end yet.
We have not. All right.
So, okay. Now, let us move on. Wait, Mange, do you have anything to say?
Yes.
What do you want to say?
Well, yeah. I'm in agreement with the atmosphere. Definitely looks cool that stuff's getting wrecked in a sort of time where it would seem to be peaceful, or what is usually associated with peaceful. And,
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure about the buildings. It seems to contrast with
Yeah,
a lot of, bionicle structures, architecture.
that is very true.
But it still looks very cool. I like the attention to detail. Not so sure on the bionicle looking figures though. I mean, like, they're Toa, but I just don't
look
think
very
they
alien.
resemble Toa very much. Yeah.
I do kind of like that personally, but like I see where you're coming from.
I mean, it's well done and detailed and stuff. I just don't think it resembles
Top Duck.
Bionicle an awful amount.
That was who
honestly.
I was thinking of. Top Duck. I entered the contest for his creation.
Right.
I'm proud of that.
But very
Wow.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anyhow.
Alright, the next entry is entry 7, Fire and Ice. I
Yeah,
really like
it's
this
very
one.
smooth
Oh, dude, this
and
is just
gonna
cartoony.
say- It has a very
Very
unique
vector arc.
style.
I like there's a lot of design going on here that you don't actually get straight off, but like it looks cool just by principle. Like there's like a rat kind of figure. I guess it's a rat. It has like a tail and what looks like to be a snout, and like this sword that's glowing against this giant monster dragon thing with lava coming from its mouth. It just looks cool. It
Yeah.
looks like a world I'd actually like to see more of. And even though I don't have no idea who these characters are or what's I would
Or
just
even
like
what
to see
the
that.
person's name is, because it's undead. Oh wait, no, there is a name. Cornocti. Credit to you. Good work. I'm gonna like find out who these people are. I will do it. I will post that in the description. But yeah. What are your thoughts, everyone besides Kai?
I like it. It's very impressive, very smooth,
Okay.
and kind of obscure. It's another one of those completely off-topic art pieces. So
Yup.
that's about all I can say. Now for VAR.
Okay, here are Var's opinions. The thing that really makes me like this image is something that is so often forgotten in artwork. Perspective. Have the camera, I don't know, being placed at an interesting angle. Bars are raging. Look, he says here we have the camera being placed at an interesting angle that makes the image seem more dramatic and helps showcase the size of the monster itself. The buildings also have very nice details. There was a ton of effort being put into the buildings. People don't realize the effort it takes to get all the straight lines to look right from the perspective. However, personally, I'm not a fan of the cartoony style. The characters seem a little too cartoony compared to the backgrounds. Which,
Well, I mean,
yeah, makes
That's
sense.
true, but it's a common thing of if you notice, like a lot of manga has this kind of thing where they have very kind of maybe complex scenery and cartoonish people in the foreground. Scott Mikado's talking about this in his book, Understanding Comics. But
Yep.
it's a
Also,
certain
Var
style.
says
That's a
dat
long
tongue.
time. Is he like?
No.
Is he like drooling lava or something? I don't know.
I
Yes,
guess.
yes.
I don't know. I feel like the inside of his stomach is lava and his tongue just hangs out.
Yeah.
So you just see the light. Maybe.
Mage, what do you think about this intro?
It looks like the rest, cool. Not very bionicle like,
Cool,
as you can
like
see. This
fire
person
and ice.
looks, the ice person looks a bit rat-like, judging from that head and the tail, and sort of the legs, but it took me a while to understand that this wasn't inside, this was outside, like in a big city sort of area, but the details and stuff of like rubble and stuff like look really cool in this
Yeah.
one. interesting sort of almost calm tone though with the way it's lighted.
Definitely.
Yeah, alright, should move on.
Alright. Next one. Number 8. We have Ending Days.
I'm gonna be honest. This is the one I voted for. I love this one
Really?
so much. Yes.
Really?
This is a scene from one of the serials. It was the only serial out of the 3 that Greg Farsty was writing.
Oh.
This is Anona versus Teleris. And I love the way this looks. The Anona is described as being looking like this. And how this artist paints this is so impressive. I love how he got
That is
the
very
description right on the mark. Teleris looks fantastic too. I love the illustration or rendering and whatnot. It reminds me of, I think it was Christian Zanier's artwork for like Hydraxon and whatnot. You guys remember that?
Yes.
Reminds me
kind
a
of-
lot of that.
Zeta had a lot of lines though. This looks like a natural 3D rendering. I would almost say this is like a photo or of a MoC or something that's superimposed onto this. It looks very real.
Yeah, I still really enjoy it though. It blends very
It's
nice.
amazing.
Has a ton of atmosphere. It's from a story out of the 3 serials Greg was writing after Bionicle's ending. Smod's Tale was the only one that ended. So I really like the source material for this.
Samod's Tale was fantastic.
I really enjoyed Smod's Tale. And so I really like this one. I think toward the center of Anona it looks kind of technical and geary, which is a little bit jarring from the smooth kind of colory lines from everything
Yeah.
else has. But overall, this won me over. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I
There's so
didn't
many good
realize-
entries here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that what you're talking about. I guess like the more I look at it, I'm not exactly sure if this thing was actually Teleris was actually painted on or a picture.
3D render.
Was it a 3D render? Because
Like the LDD thing.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to believe that too, because if you zoom in, look toward the left leg, there's kind of...
Yeah, there's like
it
the
looks
the
cookie
artifact.
cutter.
Yeah.
But, you know, it just looks so very well implemented. I'm
I
very
like
impressed
the
with it.
idea of it a lot. Although I have to say that when it comes to different stuff, I might have to go with some other thing for more background stuff and more kind of. But I like this concept a lot. I like what you said before, like how it gets like very technical, kind of like you can see like wires and I forgot what they're called. This
Metal plates.
yeah, the plating, the
screws and bolts.
yeah, this when you open up a computer, it's what you see. I like that because like it is this like half mythological demon, half like robotic monster thing that's going on there. I enjoy it.
Alright, here's Var's thoughts. Honestly, it just looked really pretty to me. Sticking tongue out face. I didn't really get what was supposed to be going on here, but it seems much better after what Eljay said. Character at the bottom is crazy realistic and real looking, so that's really good. Not sure how the artist pulled this off though, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, mange is like the signature phrase of this episode. Mange, what do you think?
I'm not gonna say I like it besides right now. But the realism is really stunning,
Yeah.
and the effects of it just
Yeah, no,
look
no.
really good. Yeah, of Anana. Yeah.
But no,
I didn't really follow
okay.
Samad's Tale. I remember having to do that for like TTV, having to read through that super fast to talk about it, so I didn't really remember it. But
Yeah.
once it was put in perspective with LJ explaining it, it changed it a bit, but I don't think it would have won my vote, honestly, despite how great it looks.
Mm.
Yeah. And now we get to what is winning a lot of people's votes.
Second
Entry number
place, right?
9. Fatal Wound. Yes, in second place.
Yeah, I'm gonna be.
This is made by. Oh, yeah, and I just want to say with the last one, Ending Days, I do not know who made it. The only clue I have to go off of is Lego 388. So,
Job.
great work to you, whoever you are.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, back to this. Uncle K has a history for his artwork, and it's always very detailed, and it has a very good style to it. I do not think he conveyed it well whatsoever in this picture.
I agree.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, you have a thumbnail, and the thumbnail is intentionally misleading, as is the case with all these entries. I noticed they usually put the spotlight on the hero rather than the monster. some of them. So you have Tahu, and it looks like it's Uncle K's typical artwork. And then you actually click on it, and the Tahu is minuscule. And it's meant to show that this thing is very huge, whatever it may be. And I love the face,
That's it.
and not much else. I don't think it works stylistically.
I actually kind of like it. I like
It doesn't look
kind
bad.
abstract,
It's one of the
sketchy
better
form.
ones, but I do not think it meshes Tahu at
No.
all. And it would look better if it was drawn in Uncle K's.
I
actual
do kind of get what
style.
you. I think like he drew Tahu first and then shrunk him down, then drew this monster to match. But I like the monster a lot. I love the design of the monster. How
That
both
is
the
also
mouth
true. I
and
love the
both, like,
design.
He looks almost like Doomsday. Like he has this,
Yup.
spikes protruding out from everywhere, and kind of like Metallo, where he has this kryptonite kind of core at his heart.
That part I
that's
definitely
leaking out.
like. I cannot fault the concept of the picture, and I cannot fault the design of the monster. Those things are solid.
This is
The
the
thing
best
that kills it
Titan.
for me is like the
but-
sheet. Oh yeah, this is probably the best Titan.
Yeah,
I
but
would have to say.
I know what you mean. Which like it's not so much a shading. It's that like a lot of stuff isn't as clear defined as it is with Tahu. I feel like
Yeah.
Tahu is drawn in one style, and the monster is also drawn in a style it's not exactly the same. Like I guess like more the amount of
The
detail
monster
given to
blends in with the
Tahu.
background,
Could have
and
been.
the Tahu is so
Yeah.
detailed when he's
I mean,
not
that
the
might
point of
be-
the picture.
I believe he's going for it, but I definitely agree with you. In like the style difference is kind of jarring, but I
Andrew, you
love
think?
I love it so
Oh,
much.
okay, cover.
I can't make a good thing on it.
Personally, excluding entries 1, 4, 5, and 10, this is my least favorite. This is definitely my least favorite because I'm a fan of Uncle Kreka's artwork. I loved his comic entry. It was fantastic during the first comic contest. I don't like this. Tahu, I agree with Kahi. I think he was kind of drawn similar to how the monster is, but was sized down. And the monster is blurry. It does blend in well, but it's blurry, it's obscure, it looks very hastily made, which actually I think it was hastily made. I love the design.
Probably.
Design looks good. It's really obscure. I don't really understand it very much, but I don't like how it's drawn.
It's conveyed
It-
the shading, the colors,
and especially
the,
not in contrast with Tahu. I feel that it's very weird. It's like,
Well, I mean, like-
Tahu got dropped into some other world. It's
yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
So it's besides 1, 4, 5, and 10. You said so. You think that the string bean Toa
No, I
on
said
the monster?
I said excluding. I said excluding those against
Yeah, I know, but you said 1, 3, 4, 1. No, sorry, 1, 4, 5, and 10.
1, 4,
think you
5,
meant
and
three.
10. Yes, I'm saying not counting.
You like the monster truck?
Not
better?
counting those entries against
Yes.
the other entries here.
Yes.
Yes, this is your least favorite. So you like the string
Aldo,
Toa.
what are you saying is you did not include number 3, so are you saying you like the monster truck more than this?
Yeah,
That's all he was
yeah, I
asking.
do.
You really?
Yes, I
Okay.
like it has a
Huh.
very consistent style, sans the Tomata. It's very clever as well to play on words.
So
I think
it's-
Var's typing up a mega post.
I know.
So,
No, I mean like I just find it
Okay, here
interesting.
we
Like in this, hold on. I just find it interesting that like it's the same thing. Like there's one giant piece to it, and there's the Toa that's stylistically different, but
Yeah, no, I
mean,
know.
I guess it's your
It's pretty
opinion,
much the same
but-
issue. It's just personal preference, honestly. And it's
Yep.
very strictly in comparison to Uncle Kreka's previous work of
Oh,
the
dude,
comics
I-
contest.
Yeah. Main, what do
Yeah.
you think?
Very detailed, decent, but at the same time, the monster lacks a lot of detail as in compared to Tahu. Seems very, like, pastelized might be the term. It just, the style of it,
pastelized, like
it
a oil painting.
contrasts with,
Yeah.
and
I
it
see.
contrasts with how detailed Tahu is. I mean, of course, it does look really good. It looks like a lot of work has been poured into it, but at the same time, its detail doesn't match Tahu, or at least the styles don't match,
I
and
feel
I
like
don't like that.
before I know Var, you want to get to Var's thing, but I want to make mention of one last kind of thing for me is that I've noticed that the lighting on Tahu seems to come from all over, as opposed to what it should come from, and that's the radiating body or belly of this giant Titan thing.
Yeah.
That might be a bit of the dissonance that we see here, but anyhow.
Okay, so this is Var's opinion on the subject. I really love the monster. It's designed really well and it looks incredibly intimidating to me. Tahu, on the other hand, is posed very awkwardly. The perspective of him looks a little odd, and he's not even looking at the monster, it seems. However, I feel that this drawing has the best fundamental technique and it appeals to be the most of all the others, and I really love the concept and the size of the monster, and then he says he wishes he chose something other than Photo Bucket, because he can't zoom in to see all the details.
I do wish I feel like Uncle K could get a lot of better stuff on DeviantArt. Like I know a lot of people that would order prints from him if he would let them do stuff. I would personally order some myself.
And now,
Honestly.
let's head into the final post. This is by Toaka Volta. And this is number 10, Great Spirit. I actually like this one to a degree.
I don't know. I feel that I like the effort that was put in, and it's very unique. But you remember reading Sager's comics, and you saw all those really weird, obscure Matoran and Mechnui? I feel like one of those Matoran became a giant Great Spirit robot and got launched from the
That is
from
totally
Aqua
what this
Magna.
looks like.
It just looks really weird, but it's unique.
Look at the
It's not a
proportions.
style I like.
Yeah, the
Look at
thing
the
about
lighting.
it is that he's trying to do perspective. Like I was talking before, there's not a lot of people that try to do perspective. I admire that for the effort, but it doesn't really pay off all too well. Some of the stuff is just not. It's not in proportion to how it should be. It's not in perspective is very exaggerated, but the exaggerated is too much that it doesn't look like you would expect it to look. Like from this, I expect him when he stands up to have this head, massive body, massive left arm, tiny right arm, and like these stubs of legs with little knees. Like, yeah, he looks like, I don't know. He just looks like a lot of it's off. Like, especially the right arm.
Oh yeah, the right arm.
Or is it the left?
It's it's his left.
It's his left, but it's the one on the right. Yeah, it doesn't really fit. I don't know. Looks a little odd. But
Mange, what do you think?
Odd. I think it's odd. I like the outline around the robot. It looks very vectory, honestly, very smooth.
That's why I like it. I like the style.
The coloring, very good up until it starts getting lower. Then it seems like the coloring started losing detail in a way. If once you zoom up and look at it, it seems like there was less focus on the shading and coloring as much.
Yeah.
I think the robot's face looks a bit odd. Perspective is definitely weird when you're contrasting the
There's
one
the eyes.
arm, the right arm and the left arm. It's pretty odd, and then those legs. Reminds me of Iron Giant somewhat for some reason.
Oh
Right.
yes.
Iron Giant lives again on BZPower.
Vin Diesel! Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, these are Var's opinions. Is he falling or flying up? I can't even tell. Otherwise, the line work is incredibly smooth and well done, but the perspective's off. He looks a little too stretched out. Also could be a bit more shading. Could use a bit more shading, I think is what he meant. I really like the style in the background, though. Like, it looks like he's falling and holding on to something invisible to keep him
Well,
up.
I've
Anyway.
made my decision.
What
and
is
that
your
decision? Is number 6. I
Okay.
have to admit that I like what he did there in terms of the background, and that's really sold this entry for me. I'm gonna vote for it,
Yup.
and it has 9 votes. Oh, out of what?
No way
That's
it's gonna
actually
win
kinda-
unless we rally.
that is
rally a
not-
campaign.
I mean, like, it's all down to personal preference, really, between 2, 6, and 9. That's the real battle between here. I guess a lot of people did enjoy 2, 2 a lot better, and then 10 a lot better, but I love all this detail.
The
that's put into
attention
the
to
background.
detail.
The attention to detail. It's not just attention to detail. It's like the little things that you notice if you lean in, and how they better the picture because of it. How they
Yes.
add to this drama of a giant monster rampaging.
Okay. Yes.
I'm done.
Well, here's the deal. We have 2 things left, fan-created games and BBC. We are going to speed through this like nobody's business. Okay? Let's do fan-created games next. Rather than talk about each individual entry, let's talk about the premise behind this contest. And then mention the entries. So here's the thing about fan-created games. Anyone that knows BZP, anyone that knows logic, anyone that knows common sense will be able to deduce that in a contest that lasted for about 3 weeks, not many people are going to make fully fledged games. And the staff knew this. And what they did was they basically said, okay, you can enter games, you can also enter game ideas. And that is perfectly valid. Kahi was going to kind of take a middle ground approach, and rather than try and make a full-fledged game, he was making a text-based RPG, which apparently is I think you're still planning on releasing it, right?
It's going to be released sometime within, I say, the next month, but that depends if I can complete it on time.
Here's the deal. This contest has 5 entries. Path of the Mortals, the final battle for BZ-Koro, Siege of Gakoro Minecraft modification, Bionicle Defeat the Titans, and Bionicle Call of Destiny 2D.
Call of Destiny. That's a very familiar title. I just can't play it.
Very familiar title.
Call of Duty.
Now here's the thing. Only one of these ideas is actually a game. Another is a Minecraft modification. The other 3 are
Minecraft
ideas. Path of the Mortals is the game, and it appears to be a very basic short platform game with filled with excitement, challenging levels, and gem collecting. Who would have guessed, according to the description? And while it looks to be fairly simplistic, I must put my support behind him 100%, and I did with voting, because he actually made a game.
Yeah, I agree.
That
with
must
this.
be respected.
I do respect that he was able to make a platform in time. Granted, it's not necessarily the best of platformers, but the fact he was able to make it is better than just saying, "Hey, you should do this." I said before, like, if I was going to enter as a kind of like a last minute thing, I didn't end up doing this, but like my entry would be like basically it'd be a combination of using the Oculus Rift and the and the I forget the name. It's the controller that lets you walk around, and it would be like this fully immersive thing into Madanui, just because it's so impossible to make, and it was so unlikely to be made that it's the only thing you can write down. It would be ludicrous enough to do it. And I did a text-based game that was just because I wanted to do something that was achievable and something that could still be very well done. I believe it's much easier to write a good text-based game than anything else. But all the other entries, we can go over them. But
this is what I'm going to do with
like,
these entries. I'm not going to go over them in depth. I'm going to read out each one of them what it is in brief. Number 2, the final battle for BZ-Koro is made by familiar face Wasp or the Phantom Terror, I believe. They are one and the same. I'm not entirely certain. And basically, this game, defeat the Makutas, new weapons, monsters, and save BZ-Koro. The genre is an action-adventure / first-person shooter. And they talk about controls, and they talk about player abilities. There's statistics and abilities that have limitations to them and perks. Here's the story. When Hapori Doom lost his last battle against the Toei, he was in outrage. He started planning and plotting for his final attempt at ultimate domination. He experimented with the various Rahi, native and not native, of BZ-Koro, making them larger, stronger, and deadlier. If this plan failed, he decided they would reduce all of BZ-Koro to rubble with a Nova Blast. Doom then unleashed his creations upon BZ-Koro, creating massive chaos and destruction. The 6 original Toa had perished in the first battle, overwhelmed by the sheer strength of Doom's new weapons, but hope was not lost. The Great Spirit of Tohu had found 6 unique Matoran in BZ-Koro, Matoran who would not back down from a fight, Matoran with free spirits who would never give in to defeat. Tohu then turned these 6 Matoran into noble and wise Toa who would fight until the very end. So it's an interesting premise, and he actually outlines all the different chapters, including the ending, and he put some work into it. So that is perfectly fine, and I can give him props for that. The third entry, and I'm saying this because like I accidentally just closed out the topic. Because
third entry is a
I
Minecraft
scrubbed-
modification.
It's the Minecraft modification? Okay.
It's just a map.
I can respect it. It's just a map, and it does not really look like the best Gakoro, but of course I'm comparing that against ours.
Yeah, I would know a thing about making
Let's start this.
Gakoros in Minecraft.
Let's start this.
Yes.
So it's pretty cool, but it is not. Yeah, okay. Var has some thoughts on the last entry. He says that sounds dumb.
Yeah, the
So-
whole description thing.
Wow, just wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
I guess like if you didn't make a demo for your game, you had no reason for your game to be small. Think as big as possible. Think like super crazy. This is
Yeah.
all. There one's like, oh, we
next-
should do a first-person adventure FPS thing, and then there's another one that's just a 2D Flash game, and you know, like
Good.
generally, just after Monog, you can't really say 2D Flash game is original for like a Bionicle
Wow.
thing.
The next one is Bionicle Defeat the Titans by XCCJ, and he says it would be a first-person adventure game similar to the theme of the MNOG. The game would be set on the various islands in the universe, and different levels for different islands. The Toa from the locations would be in the middle of battles with some of the larger titans from that year, and other Matoran characters would be spread out. There would be multiple battles going on where the heroic Toa and titans would be in a stalemate. The player's objective would be to aid the Toa into breaking that stalemate and defeating the titans. To achieve this end, the player will need to collect items and give them to the Toa. So that's an interesting prospect, and he elaborates more on that. And I actually do like that, to a degree. It sounds very interesting.
Yeah, that works.
And then the last one, Bionicle Call of Destiny 2D. And I'm reading this, and I would assume it's just, platformer 2D fighting game, perhaps. But there's different game modes. Like, here's one: capture the Kanohi. Players must
Oh,
take all
dear.
6 Kanohi from their enemy teams.
No,
Suba, and then take them to
bigger people. You're doing an indie game set in like the universe. Don't think generic. Think okay, alright, well,
Capture the Kanohi. There's deathmatch.
like I said, why? Why do we it's like Bionicle Call of Duty / like I guess Mario platformer combination thing.
Like,
I just don't-
conceptually, it would be a fun game if it existed, but like,
No, see, the
it
thing is,
doesn't
it would be a
exist.
fun. It would be a fun game if it existed because I would give him props for going out in 3 weeks.
yeah.
This isn't
This
the
is
game
the
that
issue.
this is
with the
this is
fan
like
created
alright.
games section.
Your imagination is the only limit here. And you're like, I'm gonna do a 2D platformer. Wow. Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I
Can't
expected
think
some
anything
big,
different.
ambitious, open world Bionicle Skyrim RPG loot side quest character customization. There's not one entry that's like that.
I would
I'm
expect
surprised.
one Bionicle MMO RPG entry.
And that'd be a shoe-in. I was talking about this before the contest. If you do that, you win, because that's the most amazing idea ever, and it'll never happen, except for that Skyrim mod. Anyway, I think it's time we transition because I
He
don't
said he
think
didn't
Mange
want
is even
to.
here to give his thoughts.
Okay, let's speed through this.
Yeah. So let's go to the final topic at hand. Yes. We have Bionicle-based and system-based creations. Opinions on these must be very brief. Keep that in mind.
I
There's
can
the
go
topic
over
for
all
them.
of these in a second.
Entry number 1. Okay. I actually think
Go
that is
one
a
person
small
at a
idea.
time, brief, like, sentences.
Yes, because Kai wants to abstain as well because he doesn't know a lot about MoCs. So at the end, you just say what your favorite is. Okay?
Okay, great. Number 8.
Well,
one
not
I-
you, Kai.
Oh, fine.
Eljay, you speed through the entries.
Really?
Poll number 1. Yes, that works actually.
Okay, great. Number 1. It's okay. It's kind of bulky. I love the design. Not so sure about the legs, but that's a cool hammer. Spiky. Not something I really enjoyed. Number 2 was kind of just a normal standard Toa. It wasn't really anything special. Definitely wasn't a Titan. Not something I would have voted for. Number 3,
Yeah.
very, very much reminded me of Lars MoC Silver. The Kodak blasters, the leg shape, the feet shape, the use
Yes.
of certain parts. It was very blocky and
You know you're
not very
right.
well shaped, so I didn't really like it. Number 4 was absolutely. This was terrible. I did not like a single bit
Cool.
about.
It's made
Even
of
more
sweet-
reason to dislike it.
Wow. No, wait. Know what your personal bias.
No. Objectively speaking, I don't like that how it looks. It looks very weird. We've had enough multi-armed yellow-colored characters from Hero Factory, Waspix, XT4, kind of overly done. I don't like the blockiness of the torso. It's very
Scarox.
unfitting. Scarox. Not a fan of it. Scrub mock by a scrub person. Number 5 was a lot.
Wow. Objectively speaking.
Well, objectively, objectively, I dislike. Objectively, I dislike the
wins
mock.
forever. And
Objectively,
of
I
your
do not
policy.
like the mock. If I did have to say something I liked about it, it would be the legs. The legs do look very sleek. They do have a very good cohesion
Yeah.
with them, and I do like some of the arms. But otherwise, objectively speaking, I do not. Personally speaking, he's a scrub. Anyway, number 5. This one was actually very well done. I probably would have voted for it. It had number 8 not have been a thing. It's very well structured, very well shaped. Probably the only thing I don't really find fitting is the mask, but I just generally dislike that mask. Love that staff. The arms look good, proportioned very well. Number 6 is the shadowed one. Not very tall, not very complex, very good looking, but that tail is incredibly long, unnecessarily so. Staff's kind of awkward looking from its original design, and the teeth are extraordinarily weird. I'm not a big fan of the head. Looks kind of tall and stretched. Number 7, the Obsidian Flame. Has nothing to do with flames other than it's red. It's actually incredibly small, but I don't even know if it's a mech or a monster.
I can respect it though because it kind of does what
Yeah,
it
I
wants to do at a
suppose so.
small
But
scale.
it's, I don't know, I
And-
didn't like it. Number
Yeah.
8 is what I ended up voting for. It looked very streamlined. It was huge. I really enjoyed how it looked.
Vorvox.
I liked the. It had a very
Whoa,
great
yeah, you're
looking
right, that is
cohesion
huge.
to it. The color schemes are all centered around a basic white, black, gray color scheme. It all melded very well. The knees are definitely a little bit weird, but they look like knees. They're round. The mask is kind of unfitting because it's, I guess,
Yeah.
it's more spiky than everything else. And I'm not sure how I feel about those multi-purpose ice shields on the sides of his torso. But otherwise, I feel that this was my favorite because it's very tall and titan looking. Finally, Massive. I did not like
Yeah.
Massive because there are no monsters and there are no titans.
It is a
I
monster.
couldn't see a face. The
The
whole
gimmick
mountain
is
is
that the
monster.
mountain is the monster that's just like transformed into a mountain, and he's gonna get up at any second, like on the ground.
You see like the hands,
Those are hands.
on the bottom.
I'm still not
The
a
face.
I can, yeah, it is definitely
It's
creative, and I
creative.
can see the originality in it. But overall, it wasn't. I don't know. That isn't very clear to me. It doesn't look very monstery except for the face, so it definitely didn't catch my vote at all.
I'm gonna read through these. Zardius, Master of Destruction, actually was the one I voted for because something about it spoke to me on a deep level. Except for the legs; those legs can go die somewhere. But yes, I thought it was pretty good. Number 2, I don't understand at all. Mutagentoa, so I guess it's something a monster, but it doesn't look like one at all. The Mechatoa, yeah, I was not a fan, and I definitely see the silver influence in the legs, undersea cowboy garbage, but I can see the intent, and I can kind of respect it for that. At the very least, it looks like a monster, which is more than some of these, I can say.
Yeah,
But no,
a
I'm not a
monster
fan
eye.
of the
It's
MoC
a
at all. It's
monstrosity of a
simplistic
MoC.
for me.
No, anyway.
Yeah. Number 5, White Defender, I liked quite a lot. Just not for this contest, really, because it does not scream Titan to me, or monster. Just looks like a normal sized dude. But I like how it ended up working. The Shattered one, good, too long of a tail. Obsidian Flame, I like it for what it tried to do on a small scale. Gorvox was a masterpiece. I like everything about that. And Massive, I can kind of see the intent, but not a fan, like Eljay. Mange, do you have any thoughts on these overall you'd like to give? You don't have to comment on each one. But
Overall?
do they stand out to you?
Well, I'll say this. Zardius, the tank arms were interesting, or I mean just using the tank arms for shoulder pieces, but
Yeah.
the shoulders seem really thin. Don't like the legs either. Like the hammer in the head though, sort of the chest too.
Yeah.
And Mutagentoa, not so much. Let's see, Mechatoa, I actually did find appealing. Upper legs, very top part where it connects with the body, not so much the arms, what the heck, but I kind of like the chest and those legs as well. Let's see, what is it called? Undersea Cowboy, what the heck, is all I can say. Nice disc throwing arms though, and there's 4 of them. Let's see, White Defender, not bad. The only reason I would consider it a Titan is maybe the semi-complexity that's present in what LEGO sells as Titans. Shadowed one, not too bad. Tail is a little awfully long though. The rest of it is 10 out of 10. Let's see, where am I at now?
Obsidian Flame.
Obsidian Flame. You know, I'm not too sure what to think of it. It definitely looks like there's a lot of creativity put into it, but at the same time, it's like appealing yet unappealing. I don't know.
Yeah. Last picture sold it for me.
Gorvox looks pretty sweet. I won't lie. The color scheme is a little jumbled, even though there's only 3 of it. I'm just saying it doesn't really
placement is
match as
very
much.
strange.
Yeah, the placement is odd.
There's like a ton of white on the chest, and it's only sprinkled.
And then Massive
Massive.
looks pretty cool. I wouldn't say it looks awfully monster-like, but at the same time, I saw the concept from the start, and it is a decent mountain.
Yeah.
The face on the side is a little odd, though. Those are my thoughts.
Alright, and Var's thoughts are? I honestly don't like any of those MoCs at all. This kind of makes me sad.
Odd as hell.
So, yeah.
I'll give my
Now.
quick thoughts.
The final poll for After Kai's thoughts. What are your
Okay.
thoughts?
I'm just gonna come on to Mechatoa and Zardius. Kind of stand out to me. I mean, like, you know, objectively speaking, they are MoCs built out of bionicle parts, which is what objectively speaking actually means. But subjectively speaking, I like the Mechatoa because it actually has someone inside it. Like, it looks like a cool kind of mech design, you know, just on principle. But the fact that there's someone that can actually write it, that actually, you know, that's pretty cool for me. And of course, Zardius just looks very well. I do dislike that if you click on the thumbnail, it leads to like this weirdly posed image, as opposed to the actual folder set, which has a lot better images.
Yeah.
I think what's his name?
You know,
What do you think of Gorvox and Massive? Oh, go
And
first.
like what I mentioned, Kahi, I disliked it before I knew who made it. So technically, I was objectively speaking. And then
No. Objective means it's a fact. Like, this is actually it. This is a MoC built out of Lego. That's a fact. Subjectively is what you think of it. It could be one Lego brick. It could be, like, it could be something horrible. It could be whatever. But it's your subjective opinion. That's the difference.
Definitions. Kai, this should be in your
Definitions
segment,
of Kahi.
where you
Yes.
teach, like, the definition of a word and how to pronounce it, and then you get laughed at.
yeah, like
Hey,
Kahi.
speaking of pronunciations, how about that detail?
Pronunciations. He can't even go a sentence without screwing it up.
That's okay. Pronunciations.
Pronunciation. Come on, let's just continue.
You say pronouns, and you pronounce things. Okay, how
Be
idiotic
quiet. Move
are
on.
you white
Kai, what do
people
you
in this country?
Kai, what do you think of Gorvox?
Alright. Gorvox is okay. He looks like honestly, nothing really stood out to me about him.
Okay.
He looks
okay.
like
that's enough.
there.
That's all I
Massive.
That's it. Be
Massive.
quiet.
I like. That's it.
Okay, cool. Final poll. We're like reaching the ends here of our patience and this cover.
Finally.
But let's wrap things up. Full beta. I'm gonna go first this time. Fusion Mac 5. Cluttered, jumbled. I can kind
There you
of
go.
see what he was going for, but not really. And the execution is not all that great. There are some aspects of it I do like the hands, but not much else. V12 Foot Soldier Mech. This was interesting. Not complex enough for me, very simple. But it gets the job done, so I can't really complain. Great Titan and Monster. Haha. This actually was very impressive to me based on build and a couple other reasons. Some ingenious use of parts, coloring. I was a fan of this one. And out of all of them, it's tied with something else for my vote, which I'll get to. Then we have Kurzakni, which is a very impressive dragon creature, which, while being impressive, does not actually get my vote because I don't know, something about it. Maybe it's the contrast between the Technic panels and the Bionicle pieces, but something just stands out to me about it and ruins the cohesion and flow. But hey, I cannot fault you on that design. That's one heck of a build. Vermilion Tempest. This is what's tied for my vote, and this is made by Balam. And I just love the look of this one. Everything about it. Stylistically, it flows very nicely. A little small to be considered a Titan, but that seems to be a recurring trend here in this contest, so I cannot judge you too harshly. Then we have what a name this one has. Frog, Baboon, Wolf Monster That Wants to Eat You. Made by XCCJ. And this is intriguing. It can actually eat minifigures, so I cannot fault him for that. But this is not one of my favorites. Then we have White Fury, which is very well designed. Epic yawn. A little cluttered for me to really make heads or tails of it, though. Like, design-wise, I can see what he was going for, but yeah, a bit too confusing for me. Titan Project Weapons Master Arsenal Primal. No. Just no. That is all I'm gonna say. And then New Track, which very small scale, but at the same time I really like it for some reason. It's reminiscent of like some of the old Bionicle Rai, how they were built. Something about it calls to me. It's simplistic and it gets the job done, but too small for me to vote for it. Eljay, your turn.
Alright, entry number 1 looks like Meso, but he got stretched upward, had a helicopter propeller put on him, got some of the parts from Thunder from Hero Factory shoved in there, and tore apart Nuparu Mari so fast his feet became welded to his shield. Entry number 2, is kind of neat. I like the fact that the minifigure can fit in it, but it's really too small. I can't really vote for it per se. The Titan is probably what I would have voted for if not for the entry that I did. The proportions are really off, but I appreciate the huge size of it. Next entry, which is the Dragon. I like the head and the neck. That looks really great, but the cohesion and the flow of things got ruined in the torso and the legs. Those panels do not help, and it looks like the guy threw on more parts than he knew what he was actually doing with. The entry that got my vote was number 5, actually. I loved how this one looked. It looked very robotic, kind of Jaggerish from Pacific Rim. I love the use of tires. I like the use of the rockets. That torso piece makes him almost look like a pseudo Iron Man. The sword looks kind of out of place on the inside of the arm, but I love the use of the mask. The head looks great. Entry number 6. Frog baboon wolf monster that wants to... Unique. It's unique, but I'm not a huge fan of it just because it looks so bulky and cumbersome. Next entry, the white spider thingy. I mean, it looked okay. It's kind of generic, honestly. I've seen this the color scheme and usage used millions of times. By millions, I mean a few other times. Not a huge fan of it. It does look very well built, and the head's neat. The cohesion, the flow isn't really there. It's kind of mixed up between spiky and smooth. It did not appeal to me very much. Titan Project, Weapons Master, Arsenal Primal. What a lot of colors. And finally, last one's a small scorpion that looks like a couple of parts used from some sort of little bin that was quickly, hastily made. Not appealing.
Okay. Mange, what do you think? You don't necessarily have to go over each one, but like, what are some standouts?
Some standouts. Let's see.
Oh, either in a
entry.
bad or good way.
Standouts positive. Great Act. Vermilion Tempest. White Fury. White Fury looks like a Zerg. Vermilion Tempest just like blew my mind. Great Act was pretty giant and
I love
pretty
Great
good
Act.
for how it was built.
Yeah.
Standouts for awful. Fusion MoC. Arsenal Primal and Neutroc, honestly, but Arsenal Primal. Why? Whoever made this, how could you do
There's
that?
actually a guy that Tom Dosney or Jones or something like that. He
Well.
made comics, I think.
And
well.
then the others, V12 seems okay in the very first shot, and then the rest looks kind of odd. Kirk Zakany seems like Mushu with some gray parts in the middle. It's a decent frog baboon Y, and yeah, I think I've covered everything.
Okay. I'm gonna read Var's opinions on these. With number 1, he says, "What on earth is that nonsense?" Number 2, he said, "Meh, really weird proportions, not particularly interesting." Number 3, huge, epic, solid, weird coloreds, very odd head, that axe though. Number 4, it looks very thrown together to me. It's not very coherent at all, but hey, it looks solid and the head is neat. Number 5, definitely best talk here. Doesn't really fit the theme to me, but it flows very well. I love the colors and design. Number 6, what on earth? Number 7, really neat looking, a little cluttered, but it looks like an actual creature, so kudos for that. Number 8, I'm done. Number 9, Number 9, I'm sorry, you don't get a fair review. The last entry blinded me.
And turned his
and turned
brain,
my brain
into mush.
Okay. So, that being said, that is all. Now, we have not talked about stories because they take a heck of a long time to read. But there was one standout that Kahi and I both liked, and it was The Days We Were Needed and the Years We Were Not by GSR.
Yes, by GSR. Very good entry.
It was basically about the Toakeda.
Keeney is
and
not
it was
here,
masterfully
but he
done.
said it was
No,
one of
Keeney
the
is not here.
greatest writings he's read on BZPower as of late, and I agree. I enjoyed it a lot. You should definitely vote for it. I definitely voted for it.
You're tired,
Jeez.
Kahi.
Dude, it's like 3 in the morning. I'm supposed to be
Okay.
like, hey, I'm gonna
Yeah.
reset it for school.
So whatever.
Well,
Let's finish
okay.
it up.
Here's the thing. So we're not going to talk about those. I would advocate you go check out the stories if you have not, because I'm sure there are some good ones there. But that being said, it's been fun. It's been way too long, but hey, that's what happens. Go vote in this contest. It needs all support because we've talked before about how good this is for BZP. So, thank you all for listening. I'm Mesnak.
I'm LJ.
Unkahi.
And I'm Tenebrae Invictus. And I'm Tenebrae Invictus.
And we will see you all next time.